Hello there. Welcome to SmartGence training. So this session will be about the validation rules. So firstly, what is a validation? So validation rules allow an admin to create conditions and we will be checking against those conditions. So if those conditions are not met by the user, then the user will not be able to see the record. Like for example, if we see over here, we have put out a validation rule at email which is throwing a validation, right? So stating that this email address should include at. So this basically how we have defined the condition is no value should be taken for this particular email field without a character at. So that is how validation rules would be defined. So then validation rule in Salesforce. So this basically will improve the data quality. Like for example, we have prevented a user from providing what to say an incorrect data into this email field, right? So that way we'll be improving the data quality, and validation rules would basically be executed at the record save time. Like when we click on save for a particular record, this validation rule would get fired. And how we would be defining this validation rule is basically we would be putting out a formula or expression that evaluates the data in one or more fields, and it would return a value whether it is a true or false. So if it is true, then this validation error message would pop up. If false, then it would just the record would just get saved. So how to create a validation rule is basically we need to navigate to setup, then to the object manager, then we have to select the specific object where we want to put this particular validation rule, and there will be a section called validation rule for that object, and in that section you'll be able to see this small button new. By clicking on that, we can create a new validation rule. So a few key items while creating a validation rule which you'll be defining are the rule name, obviously. Then there will be this active checkbox which defines whether this particular validation rule is active or not, and a description where we would be defining about this validation rule, and criteria or formula against which which condition this validation rule would be defined, and an error message if that particular condition is not met, and where we want that error message to be located, like at the top of the page or near the field or something like that. Important functions which we use regularly in validation rules. So firstly is new. As the name suggests, this would check whether the record is being created new. If yes, then it will return true. If not, it will return false. Then and. This is the syntax for and we will be defining multiple conditions within these braces for and. So basically this would return true if all these conditions are met to true. Even if one condition is met to false, then it will return false. Then comes or. Or is again basically similar to and, but this would return true if even one expression is true, and it return false only if all the expression are false. Then if. So basically this is the syntax for if, you can see, right? So we would be checking a condition and we would be defining what if that condition is met to true and what if that condition is met to false. So basically here we can again define multiple conditions, or we can just return true and false or directly to over it. Then is pick value. So this basically used in the pick list fields. So what this would be checked against is we will be having this pick list field value. It checks whether this is equal to the text literal which we would be providing here. If yes, then it will return true. If not, it will return false. Then is changed. So again, this would check whether the value of the field is being changed from the previous value. If so, true. If not, false. Is blank or null, and again as the name suggests, this will check if this particular field is blank. This is basically the syntax. If this condition is met, then it will return true. If not, false. Finally, this today is basically returns the current data. So that is what this today function is basically used for. We'll end this session with a quick fact. So we have a limitation of the active validation rules which we can use per object based on the edition. So if it is a developer edition of Salesforce, we can use 100. If it is enterprise, again 100. If it is an unlimited edition, then we can use 500 validation rules per object. I hope this explains validation rule. Thank you and happy learning.